We have all heard the stories. Someone wins a massive lottery and within 3 to 5 years, they are completely bankrupt, their relationships are destroyed, and they are worse off than before they won. Or maybe this has happened to you on a smaller scale. You finally manifest a huge sum of money or a massive promotion at work. You are ecstatic. But 2 weeks later, your car breaks down, you get an unexpected tax bill, or a sudden crisis drains all that new money away. Why does this happen? Why does the universe seem to punish you for massive success? Welcome to episode 9 of the Advanced Manifestation Protocol. Today, we are learning the physics of a dualistic reality. You are going to learn why sudden success triggers a catastrophic backfire, and exactly how to use technique to survive your own manifestations. In New Age and spiritual circles, you hear a lot of talk about the money ceiling or the upper limit problem. The money ceiling is the subconscious maximum amount of wealth or happiness your avatar believes it is allowed to have. Spiritual teachers will tell you that when you hit your money ceiling, you self-sabotage. But why do you self-sabotage? What is the actual mechanic behind the ceiling? To understand this, the money ceiling is actually just a symptom of a universal law, the pendulum effect. In a dualistic world, everything operates like a pendulum. The center point, where the pendulum rests naturally, is your normal. It is what you believe is standard everyday life. The far edges of the swing, the highest points the pendulum can reach before it falls back down, are your limits. This is your money ceiling. Let's say your normal center point is making $5,000 a month. That feels safe. Suddenly, through the law of manifestation, you receive a massive inheritance or win $500,000. Your avatar goes into shock. You think, oh my God, this is unbelievable, this is impossible. Because you define it as unbelievable, you have just hit the absolute extreme edge of your pendulum's swing. You hit the glass ceiling. And because of the laws of dualistic physics, a pendulum cannot stay at the extreme edge. It must violently reverse and swing all the way back to the opposite extreme, which means sudden loss, debt, or crisis. This is why lottery winners go broke. They hit their ceiling and the pendulum swings back to take it all away. The pendulum effect itself is a universal law of physics in the 3D matrix. The greatest spiritual masters, philosophers, and even psychologists have been warning us about this exact same trap for centuries, just using different words. Let me show you how universal this glitch is. Number 1, Lao Tzu and the Tao. Over 2,000 years ago, Lao Tzu taught the law of yin and yang. The Tao Te Ching states that whenever a force reaches its absolute extreme, it inherently gives birth to its opposite. If your wealth reaches an extreme that shocks your system, that extreme high instantly gives birth to the seed of sudden loss. This is the pendulum swinging back. Number 2, Vadim Zeland and reality transurfing. In modern esoteric teachings, Vadim Zeland calls this exact phenomenon excess potential. Zeland teaches that the universe demands equilibrium. When you manifest something huge and react with frantic ecstatic shock, giving it too much importance, you create excess potential. The matrix immediately deploys balancing forces to knock you back down to normal, usually by taking the money away. To keep the wealth, Zeland says you must drop the importance and treat it as normal. Number 3, Carl Jung and psychology. Even modern psychology recognizes this trap. The legendary psychoanalyst Carl Jung called it enantiodromia. He discovered that whenever an extreme, one-sided tendency dominates your conscious life, like consciously forcing a massive financial manifestation, an equally powerful opposite force builds up in your subconscious. If your conscious mind is celebrating $500 million, but your subconscious mind is terrified of it, the subconscious will eventually rebel and swing your reality back to poverty to restore balance. Number 4, Abraham Hicks and the law of attraction. You know this as resistance versus allowing. When you manifest something massive but react with, "I can't believe this happened," you are actually vibrating with resistance. You are confirming to the universe that you and this wealth are not a natural match. Resistance pinches off the flow and the manifestation collapses. Lao Tzu, Vadim Zeland, Carl Jung, and Abraham Hicks are all pointing at the exact same matrix code. Extreme reactions trigger extreme reversals. To survive your own success, you must walk the middle way. You must drop the excess potential. You must remove the subconscious resistance. Mozis share a specific technique and formula to move your center point, so the universe has to leave you alone. Let's look at exactly how to execute this hack. So how do we stop the swing? How do we break the money ceiling so we can keep the wealth we manifest? When a massive positive manifestation hits your life, you cannot just blindly celebrate. You are in a highly volatile, energetic state. You must immediately hack the physics of the system using the Pendulum Moving Technique. You must manually shift your center point. The moment you want to receive that $500,000, you must make a declaration to the entirety, source, the universe, that shifts your normal to a number that is double what you just received. You say, "I declare in the name of all that is, it is very normal for me to receive $1 million. To me, $1 million is a completely normal small amount. From now on, this is my center." And so it is. Why do we do this? This is absolute strategic genius. By declaring that 1 million is your new normal center, the $500,000 you just received suddenly becomes the low point of your pendulum. Because you shifted the center, $500,000 is no longer the unbelievable extreme. It is just a minor, everyday occurrence. And because it is now on the low end of your new pendulum, the pendulum can only swing up from there. You successfully break the ceiling by moving the entire room. Here is the exact math. If you just manifested $500,000, you declare that 1 million is your normal. By doing this, you instantly place the $500,000 you just received on the low end of the pendulum. You set 1 million as the new center and 2 million as your new extreme limit. The golden rule here is to roughly double what you just experienced. Do not jump straight to $1 trillion. If it is too exaggerated, your subconscious avatar simply will not believe it, and the command will fail. It must be a stretch, but still believable to your system. The visualization. Once you have made the declaration and you genuinely start to feel that the new number is normal, you must use a simple visualization to lock it in. Think of this as the glue. Close your eyes. Visualize a physical pendulum in front of you. Draw a circle right at the resting center of the pendulum and write your new normal value there, like 1 million. Then look at the extreme edge of the pendulum swing and write down your new limit, like 2 million. Do this simple visualization twice a day, morning and night, for about 7 consecutive days. This permanently glues the new center point into your mental body's hard drive as a stable setting. Now, you might be asking, isn't constantly raising my normal value just being greedy? Absolutely not. Expanding your normal is an expansion of your belief system. It is the exact opposite of greed. Greed is a frequency of intense lack. It says, "I must have this, I cannot survive without it," which means you are entirely possessed by desire. When you truly feel that having 1 million, 5 million, or 10 million is just a normal everyday thing, you actually stop grasping. Your emotional body relaxes. You are far less likely to do twisted, unethical things for money because you no longer operate from starvation. When people embezzle money or run away with massive funds, it is precisely because their internal normal is still set at a poverty level, and the sudden money exposed their deep inner lack. Finally, let's talk about your emotions. Having a high center point doesn't mean you have to act like a cold, emotionless robot on the outside. You can absolutely be happy and joyful, but pay very close attention to your internal feeling. If your reaction is an over-the-top, mind-blowing, "Oh my God, this is completely impossible and unbelievable," shock, you have just touched your belief limit. That shocked surprise is the exact trigger that causes the negative backswing. Practice keeping your joy, but view these massive blessings as understandable, acceptable, and completely natural occurrences in your daily life. Make the extraordinary your everyday center. But what happens if you try this and your avatar flat out refuses to accept the new center? What if you still feel terrified of losing the money? I asked the cat through the BodyMaitre charts, what are the top 3 elements within the 4 bodies causing people to fail at adjusting their pendulum center? If you keep hitting your money ceiling and crashing back down, you are running one of these 3 corrupted programs. Let's expose them. Number 1. Sticky images and negative imprints. Your mental and emotional bodies are hoarding traumatic memories. Maybe you watched your parents fight viciously over money, or you saw a wealthy person in the news lose everything in a scandal. These negative imprints act like sticky glue in your subconscious. When you try to visualize your new, wealthy center point, these sticky, terrifying images instantly pop up and override your vision. You cannot anchor a new, positive reality if your screen is permanently stained with negative imprints of the past. Number 2, fear of life. This is a profound existential block in the spiritual body. Many souls are actually terrified of expanding, thriving, and being highly visible. It feels much safer to play small, stay invisible, and just survive. Manifesting massive abundance forces you out of the survival cave and into the bright light of actually living. If you have a subconscious fear of life, your avatar will view massive success as a life-threatening danger, and it will force the pendulum to swing back to poverty just to feel safe again. Number 3. Refusing to change old patterns. Your avatar can become chemically addicted to the frequency of struggle. If you have spent 20 years identifying as the hard worker who never gets a break, that is your identity. When sudden success arrives, it threatens to destroy that old identity. Because the ego refuses to let go of its familiar struggle patterns, it will actively sabotage the wealth just so it can go back to complaining and feeling like a victim. It chooses the familiar pattern over the new freedom. You cannot break the money ceiling with a corrupted hard drive. If you have suddenly manifested a massive win, or if you are preparing to, look inward to your 4 bodies. Ask your cat, am I holding sticky negative imprints? Am I running the fear of life program? Am I refusing to change my old struggle patterns? Dissolve these blocks. Clear the sticky images. Delete the addiction to struggle. Do not let your own success destroy you. Clear your 4 bodies, shift your center point, and make the extraordinary your new normal. I'm Darreck. Master your pendulum and you master your matrix.